It's the Daily Dog.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. On the program today, my friends, we are diving into some music by Rush. Perfect for a Masterpiece Friday, and I am happy that you are with me. Rush, it's great to get back to these guys. The celebrated Canadian rock trio. They are known for their overwhelming musicianship, their complex compositions, and the inclusion of science fiction and philosophy into their lyrics. Just an all around fantastic band, and I have loved all of the music that I have heard from this band. We've got Alex Lifeson on the guitars, Geddy Lee on bass and keyboards and vocals, and drummer Neil Peart. And today I'm especially interested in Neil and his contributions to the band. He was the band's primary lyricist, and he was nicknamed the Professor and drew on his passion for literature and reading, and he brought a real gravitas to Rush's songs in his lyrics. So a little over a month ago, I released a video looking into Metallica's Unforgiven trilogy, and I really enjoyed that deep dive into Metallica's music. And after I released that recording or that video, I started hearing from Rush fan after Rush fan after Rush fan, and they're like, dude, hello, Rush has their own trilogy. You should take a look at it. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're looking at what is known as their Fear trilogy. I have been intrigued with this trilogy ever since I heard about it not too long ago, and I wanted to dive into this mainly because the emotion of fear, in my opinion, is one of the primary driving factors of human behavior. And I really want to hear and experience what Neil had to say about the different facets of this emotion. The songs that are included in the trilogy are The Enemy Within from Grace Under Pressure, The Weapon from Signals, and Witch Hunt from Moving Pictures. Those three. In an interview about the trilogy, Neil said this. This is really interesting. He said the idea for the trilogy was suggested by an older man telling me that he didn't think life was ruled by love or reason or money or the pursuit of happiness, but by fear. And this smart but cynical guy's position was that most people's actions are motivated by fear of being hungry, fear of being hurt, fear of being alone, fear of being robbed, etc. And that people do not make choices based on hope that something good will happen, but in fear that something bad will happen. I reacted to this the way that all of us tend to react to generalities. Well, I'm not like that. But then I started to think more about it, watching the way people around me behaved, and I soon realized that there was something to this viewpoint. So I sketched out 3 theaters of fear as I saw them. How fear works inside us, and that is manifested in The Enemy Within. How fear is used against us, manifested in The Weapon, and how fear feeds the mob mentality in the song Witch Hunt. Really fascinating, right? So the songs were released in reverse order. The band thought that the group approach, the group topic to fear might be the easiest to deal with first, so that's where they started. There is a 4th song that is now included in this trilogy. It's called Freeze, and it's from Vapor Trails, but that's from way in the future, like 2002. All of these were in the early 80s, right? And Freeze deals with the choices we make in the fight or flight response, which is interesting. But the idea of the trilogy, the original 3, had been in people's minds for so long that the term has stuck, even though there's now 4 songs instead of 3. I'm going to get to Freeze at another time, so we're just going to listen to the original trilogy today. And I'm going to use a live recording from this. I'm going to listen to them in their main numerical order, not the order in which they were released. The only time that they played all 3 of these songs in sequence was during their Grace Under Pressure tour in 1984, and there is a live album that was made from this tour, so we have a good live recording of them performing these songs, specifically recorded on September 21st, 1984, performing in Toronto. And so that's the live version that I'm going to use. A couple reasons why I picked it. I've already heard Witch Hunt included on my moving pictures reaction. I've already heard that studio recording, and I'm hoping still to get to Signals and Grace Under Pressure, to their studio recordings for a future episode. And finally, the band always sounds live. It sounds great live, I should say. So I trust that it's going to be a fun experience. So let's dive in, y'all. Rush, Grace Under Pressure in 1984 from their tour live, and we're going to start with The Enemy Within. Here we go. Hey.
We'd like to continue with songs from various albums, but right now we'd like to do something from Grace Under Pressure. This is The Enemy Within.
So The Enemy Within was off of Grace Under Pressure from 1984. This one I haven't heard yet. B minor. Nice. Flat 6, flat 7, 1, and B minor.
That imagination's spin. Needles at your nerve ends crawl like spiders on your skin. Pounding in your temples and the surge of adrenaline.
Every muscle tense to face the enemy within. Experience to extremes. I'm not giving in to security under pressure. I'm not missing out on the promise of adventure. I'm not giving up on implausible dreams. Still that basic B minor progression for the verses. Kind of got a little bit of a reggae feel, doesn't it? Reminds me of rock music from the early 80s. Just listening to them playing, the synergy of these guys together is absolutely incredible. Love the halftime feel in this as well. He's talking about phobias, right? Revolution or resistance, living or existence. Takes a little more persistence to get up and go the distance. It's a pep talk from Neil, y'all. He's telling us not to give in and not to give up and not to miss out. Don't let your internal fears, your phobias, keep you from living your best life. So we're starting inward, right? real numerical order of these songs. And he's talking about these phobias that keep us from reaching our goals, keep us from our adventures and important experiences, from getting the most out of humanity. I have plenty of phobias myself. I've talked a lot about my fear of flying. It's quite debilitating, and it makes me upset that I'm so afraid of it. But I'm working through that. Great song. I like that one. What is that?
Count Floyd here, and I'm here tonight to introduce a very special song to you. It's a scary song, one of the scariest I've ever heard. Even the title tells me it's called The Weapon.
Who is this? Is this a person on stage that's not the band? Might be a video package.
Because if you don't have your 3D glasses, you'll only be seeing this thing in 1/2 D. So be sure you put them on. Otherwise, you can't enjoy those scary effects. They'll whip right out at you, believe me.
It's got to be a video effect.
Oh, listen to that synthesizer.
I don't recognize that voice.
Those drums.
There's a synthesizer, you hear the drums. Is he half dog? I have to look into this more. This is interesting. The Weapon. G. Similar progression. May, te, do, and G.
You got nothing to fear but fear itself.
The fear itself. This is the first time hearing this one for me too, y'all.
Not the broken contacts in emotional chemistry. Like an iron fist in a velvet glove, we are sheltered under the gun. In the glory game on the power train, thy kingdoms will be done. And the things
It's amazing to me how much Geddy can do independently, singing and playing the rhythms in the bass at the same time. It's unbelievable to me. That's really hard. Half step. So that's back to like the beginning. Bum, bum, bum. So that's G. Now we're dealing with external fears instead of internal ones.
Those who push us down that they might climb. Is any killer worth more than his crime?
Got a half step. That's an A. It came down from the B flat. G, C, B flat. Cool. Back to G. And they go to D for the chorus. Minor 5. All the way down to D, and they use some little mixture through the F natural into there. That's really slick. Nice Nice progression. Little suspended action over that D. This is awesome. There's that almost Jeff Beck style of warble in Alex's guitar. It's mainly used over that D chord still. Starts to sound like where they were before. So they get back to G. May, tay, go. Back to D for the chorus. All the way down to D. Just pops of color everywhere. Nothing to fear but fear itself, y'all. This one's all about how we are weaponized, right? We are the weapon. And we're weaponized to actions specifically by our fears and phobias being, I think, stoked by other people seeking to control us, right? Rock and roll. Not pain, not failure, not fatal tragedy, not the faulty units in this mad machinery, not the broken context and emotional chemistry. With an iron fist and a velvet glove, we are sheltered under the gun in the glory game on the power train. Thy kingdom's will be done, and the things that we fear are a weapon to be used against us, or to be held against us. That's the first verse of The Weapon, and it just leapt out at me. We are transitioning, friends. Right into Witch Hunt. One of my favorite songs from Moving Pictures. This one I've heard, the other two I haven't. Because I've heard Moving Pictures, right? They're still in G, same key as the last tune.
The night is black without a moon.
Up a major third.
Right
tone, back to G. Funky. Funky. One chord. Major 3, which moves a tritone before it resolves back in. I remember this. Ba ba, right? G, B flat, D, C natural.
Features distorted in the flickering light. Faces are twisted and grotesque. Silent and stern in the sweltering night. The mob moves like demons.
That sounds like the C major chord too, so they're in sort of modal G Dorian.
Confident their ways are best.
How awesome would it have been to be at this concert? I think I was born at the wrong time.
Righteous rise.
This is all live, y'all. The righteous rise with burning eyes of hatred and ill will, madmen fed on fear and lies to beat, burn, and kill. That's what we're talking about. It's a reference to the Salem witch trials, witch
They
hunts.
see there are strangers who threaten us. Are immigrants and infidels.
That is a weird chord progression.
They say there is strangeness too dangerous.
That major 3 chord
Enough
before they go straight down to flat 7 and then back to 1.
those who know what's best for us must rise and save us from ourselves.
Quick to judge, quick to anger, slow to understand. The human condition, right? Ignorance and prejudice and fear walk hand in hand. Neil's just spouting some truth here, y'all. Awesome. Awesome. And they end on the C. And it really cut off quick. Okay. Wow. I loved that, y'all. It's been a while. I shouldn't stay away from Rush this long, y'all. That is what I think. In this last one, of course, we're talking about how fear can be used to control a group of people, not just a singular person. And so here we get the mob, right? And they are fed with xenophobic rhetoric, and just they succumb to awful thoughts and behaviors out of their fear of someone who is simply just different from them, maybe, or from somewhere else on the planet with different customs. In verse 4, they say there are strangers who threaten us, our immigrants and infidels. They say there is strangeness to danger us. In our theaters and bookstore shelves, that those who know what's best for us must rise and save us from ourselves. Man, I wish I could have spent a couple of hours just chewing the fat with Neil, because I really, really enjoy his writing. I really, really do. And the music is really just fantastic, is it not? Man, they put on a great show. As far as the Fear trilogy goes, I think the true power for us that helps us to not be overcome and controlled by our fears comes simply from us dwelling on the fact that we have them. We have these fears, and we spend time to understand and live with them. And that can be debilitating. It takes courage to do that, but it's also an act that can help free us and help us recognize in real time these instances where we're faced with a choice, for action, whether that's dealing with our own inside fears and phobias, or whether it's recognizing and avoiding being used by others through our fears to somehow be hurtful or act irrationally, whether that's us acting alone or acting as part of a group, right? It's even harder to not go along with the group mentality. And all of this has me thinking about something. While it's not part of the Fear trilogy, I'm dwelling on the final words of another Rush song with Neil's words. And the song is called Everyday Glory, and it comes from the album Counterparts from the 90s. It's at the very end of the album, and here's the last words on that album. This is really interesting. If the future's looking dark, we are the ones who have to shine. If there's no one in control, we are the ones who draw the line. Though we live in trying times, we're the ones who have to try. And we know that time has wings, so we're the ones who have to fly. Yeah. It's just wonderful, isn't it? It's the whole thing, I think, from in Neil's words, to me, it's him helping us lay out and recognize what's happening when we act and when we succumb to these fears. And it is not a warning per se, but just a bit of education more than anything else, right? And with that education, we can make better decisions in the future if we heed it and we fully understand it and process it, and make it a part of us. And that's what really great art can do, and that's what this art has done for me today. Spending time with Rush always seems to give me not only a great and fun musical experience, but it also helps give me a better and deeper understanding and curiosity about myself and the world around me. So wonderful to get to music by Rush on this Masterpiece Friday. This has been the Fear trilogy: The Enemy Within, The Weapon, and Witch Hunt. Thanks y'all for spending some of your Friday with me. We'll see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.